With the NBA draft just one day away, Raptors GM Bobby Webster has identified that there is still talent available for them at 33rd overall, so it's important for Raptors fans like yourself to understand who is available in this position. So in today's video, we're going to break down every player the Toronto Raptors have given a workout to, so there are no surprises for you when that name is called on draft night. Let's get into it. What's going on, NBA and Raptors fans? It's Jacob here, back with Amateur Hour Sports for another Toronto Raptors YouTube video. On this channel, I'm bringing you the greatest coverage and analysis on the latest Toronto Raptors news all throughout the offseason. So if you like what you see from today's video, then make sure you are subscribed to Amateur Hour Sports. Help us on a road to 10,000 subscribers to big 5 digits. And with the draft just right around the corner tomorrow, you'll get breakdowns for all of the new players joining the team. So what we want to do in today's video, a list came out about who the Raptors were giving a workout to, a confirmed list of who the Raptors were going to work out ahead of the draft. And there were a lot of names on this list that I just didn't know of. And, for you, maybe looking at the list, there's probably a lot of guys that you have not heard of. And I've seen in comments on my videos, comments on my community posts that, people just don't know what type of players are available for the Raptors, who these players are. So we are going to fix that today. So if the player is confirmed to have worked out with the Raptors, and I believe actually worthy of doing a proper breakdown for, I have laid out everything about these players. I've gone through who they are, their college stats or international stats per game, their strengths and their weaknesses. So whoever the Raptors draft on draft night tomorrow night, you know who they are and you know what to expect out of that player. So we need to get into the other studio to make this video, so I'll see you there. And the reason we're in this studio is because we're going to go in depth on a bunch of prospects the Raptors could select 33rd overall with graphics to accompany them. So you know exactly who they are when their name gets called tomorrow night. If you're familiar with the second channel, Amateur TV, my second channel, you've seen this studio before, but we need to use it again today because I have a slide deck to showcase all of these prospects. So let's get into that content here. The draft board, I do one of these pretty much every single year. This year a little bit different because we're focusing on guys going in the second round, but you guys need to know who they are ahead of the draft. So I got this list, I saw this list that showcased everybody the Raptors have confirmed given a workout to. And we're only going to discuss in this video the players who are expected to get drafted, because those are the guys that can go 33rd overall. So there's a bunch of guys not projected to get drafted. The Raptors may sign them after the draft, but we just don't have time to go in on all those. So only the ones expected to get drafted that I believe are worthy of a full breakdown. So disclaimer, Dominic Barlow and Jabari Walker are guys that are not in this list because I just don't see the Raptors drafting those guys, but we have everybody else expected to get drafted. Now the problem is there's 11 guys expected to get drafted that are on this list. The Raptors apparently actually worked out 72 prospects. So a lot more than what this list showcases, but this is a confirmed list that we're going to go off of for this video in particular. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So starting with the point guards, we go to Andrew Nembhard, the Canadian from Aurora, Ontario. We did a full breakdown for him on this channel already. Point guard, about 6'5", good height for a point guard, decent wingspan, and showcase some good stats playing for Gonzaga, one of the best teams in the nation. A lot to like about Andrew Nembhard, 100%. NBA ready, in my opinion, ready to just be a floor general, the backup point guard that this team needs. And honestly, I believe he could be that backup point guard for the team from day one. Very, very good shooter, as you saw with the stats over here. And I think that will translate into the NBA. Lots of range, high floor. Problems with him, lower ceiling. He's a guy that you're not going to want to take a lot of risk on. He's essentially, you know what he is already. He's not really going to get a ton better, but just because he maybe lacks a little bit of athleticism. He's already 22 years old. And, if you just want a low risk maneuver, you want a guy to be a backup point guard, this could be for you. The shooting form is a small thing because, he shoots the ball very well, so that doesn't really matter. But I like Andrew Nembhard. I think that'd be a great pick. He gets a 4 out of 5 for me for the Raptors. Next one is shooting guards. There's only one point guard. You know how the Raptors operate. We go to Hugo Besson, it could be. I don't exactly know how to pronounce his name, but he's a point guard, shooting guard, apparently listed as that. He is definitely not a point guard, though. He's 6'6" with a 6'6" wingspan, 21 years old. He was playing in the NBL, and it's a men's league. I get that, but the stats to me are not very good. 14 points per game, very bad efficiency, as you can see there. It's just not very good. Granted, in the NBL, it can be difficult. You see like Josh Giddey, somebody who was really good in the NBA in his rookie season, like showcased a very definitive lack of efficiency. And, you know, there are some good things about Hugo here that we can talk about. Jump shot form is great. I believe he has a good quick release. His pull-up game is decent. He handles the ball pretty well. He definitely hustles out there. Fearless to a fault, but a lot I really don't like. Don't like his draft age. Size for the shooting guard position, he's a little bit skinny, so I don't think he would really work out in that department. Never met a shot that he does not like. Like, he just absolutely shoots everything. He's very low IQ on offense, and honestly on defense, low IQ as well. The athleticism doesn't make up for it. He just puts his head down and goes to the rim. I am not a fan of this guy. This is the worst player the Raptors worked out. Projected to get drafted. 1 out of 5 for me. Stay absolutely clear of Hugo in the draft. If I had a pick under 50, I would not be considering this guy. Next is the shooting guard and small forwards. Could have put these under the forwards, but these are the more shooting guards than small forwards. What worked for the positionless game the Raptors want to do, especially Caleb Hueston. This is a guy I like. He's a Canadian guy from Mississauga, Ontario, actually. Listed as a shooting guard, small forward. Lovely height and wingspan. Some of the Raptors are definitely going to like with this guy. Only 19 years old, playing for a good school in Michigan, and the points, rebounds, they're decent, 10 and 4. The efficiency, 38, maybe not the best. You'll see why in a second, because he's a very good shooter. 35% shooter from 3, averaged that on 5 attempts per game. Like, I really like a lot about this guy. He's just a straight up, absolute, lethal, locked in shooter. This guy just shoots. All of his highlight tapes that I saw on YouTube were this guy was just shooting. Maybe some defensive play, because he has some good defensive instincts. Ignore the typo there. Good defensive instincts. Really has a chance to be a 3-and-D specialist in the NBA, especially with the energy and intangibles he brings. He works hard to improve his game. A lot of great shooting mechanics, but there are some weaknesses. He's not the best athlete. First step isn't the best. Doesn't really create his own shots. Doesn't have a very tight handle on the ball, so he's literally just out there to shoot. He is just out there to shoot. Like, not a very good interior scorer. He is a decent defender, so 3-and-D type of guy, and this is somebody I believe that could really help out your bench. 3.5 stars. As much as there's some stuff that maybe isn't the best for him, he can shoot. And that's what the Raptors bench need. It would be an interesting draft pick, 100%, especially as a Canadian. Next player is Trevor Keels out of Duke. He's a shooting guard, 6'5", with a 6'7" wingspan. Not the most eye-popping figures there, but at only 18 years old, I like a lot for this player. 11.5 points per game. The efficiency isn't the best, I will admit. Didn't have the best season with Duke, you know, where there's a lot of good players at Duke, so you're not always getting the most amount of touches, but what I like about him, only 18. He was a 5-star recruit out of high school. There was a lot of untapped potential with this player. Has a good frame, good size, very smart with the ball, very athletic as well. So he's a high IQ player who does not give away the ball. And on defense, it's probably the best thing. Player comparable is Lou Dort. He absolutely hounds you on and off the ball. Lockdown type of defender potential in the NBA and can score on all 3 levels. I know he wasn't the most efficient, but has a good shooting stroke. He projected a lot better in college than the 31% he shot from 3, and I expect that to continue to get better as he gets older. Only 18 years old. There's a lot of potential for this player in this position. So, again, the things we don't like, the efficiency is something that does worry us a little bit. Not the best passer of the ball. We'll admit that as well, but as a shooting guard, maybe not the worst thing in the world. Would be a really good switchable shooting guard for the Raptors, in my opinion. Something about the efficiency that maybe is a problem is the free throws. Like, if that's not even good, then you have to wonder about the shooting form, the mechanics. But I believe in him, and sometimes on offense gets a little bit of tunnel vision. But for a young player, that is something you can absolutely work on. I really like him. I think the Raptors should 100% consider him. 4.5 on the draft meter. Now we go into forwards. This is the bulk of what the Raptors like to do, and we are going to start with Peyton Watson. So he's actually listed as a shooting guard, small forward. This guy is not a shooting guard. 6'8" with a 7-foot wingspan, 19 years old out of UCLA, and this guy just did not get playtime. Straight up, did not get playtime. The efficiency in that limited amount of playtime is very poor. There's just not a lot to go off of. But What people like about him is how insanely athletic he is to go with that size. A lot of upside for something like that. Like, everybody's just trying to find the next Giannis, essentially, and not this guy won't be that, but there are some certain things about him that maybe you can develop for him, like the switchability. Like, this is just the kind of guy the Raptors may want to work with. I believe the ESPN mock draft had him going to the Raptors, but there was a lot to work on for him, and it was such a small sample size at UCLA that you're taking a big risk by drafting him. Very skinny as well. That's why it says size there. I think he should have spent another year in the NCAA to sharpen up his skills. It's a risk. It's a very long-term project. It could pay off big time, but it's not something that I really want to take on. There's better of that available in the draft in my position. If the Raptors were to draft him, okay, they really see something they can work with, and there's talent there somewhere. It's a long way away, in my opinion. Next one is Justin Lewis. Oh my God, I love this guy. I love this guy. Small forward, power forward with a 6'8" height, 7'3" wingspan, only 20 years old, out of Marquette, and the stats look great, like very good. The efficiency at 44 is fine for me for a college player. 35% from three as well. Good shooting from the line, 7.9 rebounds, 16.8 points. Oh my God, wait till you see this. Size, wingspan, and strength. He is so strong. He's like so built as well. Like, this is an absolute unit out there on the court. Like please go after this video or pause the video and come back after. Watch some tape of this guy. He is massive. Can score on all three levels, can hit the three ball, can create his own shot from three, can create his own shot in mid-range, which is awesome. Super efficient at doing this as well. Really moves in transition. Has that long stride for some, like for his size. That's that very long stride. Yet super controlled, super smart, and can handle himself extremely well. Switchable on defense. Has shades of being able to guard the 1 through 5, which is awesome for the Raptors. Very strong with his size, so he can handle himself in the post on defense against these fives, against these centers, and that is excellent to see. Maybe needs to work a little bit more on his first step to really guard those point guards, but he is capable of doing it. Weaknesses. The only weaknesses this guy has are his focus and discipline on defense, really. Like, there's a left-handed finishing, needs to get better at that because his post game is a little bit basic because he really only goes to his right hand. And yes, turnovers and playmaking could be a little bit better. But the biggest thing about him is that sometimes he loses his focus on defense. So when he's off ball, loses his check. Sometimes on ball, he's not completely dialed in. If you work on his focus, he can be a good defender along with that great offensive game that we saw earlier. Like, I believe this is something you can fix, especially like with NBA coaches. Fixing your focus, that shouldn't be that big of a problem. 5 out of 5 for me. Would love if the Raptors drafted this guy 33rd overall. There is a lot to like about him. Next player is Josh Minott. Now, he's kind of like Peyton Watson, except I believe he's better. 20 years old with a 6'11" wingspan, 6'8" height at Memphis. Didn't get a ton of play time. Another one didn't get a lot of play time, and the 3-point percentage down there is something that worries me definitely a little bit. Don't really care about the averages, like the points, steals, and rebounds, because there wasn't a lot of his sample size. But you have to watch a lot of tape to see these guys. He's a freak. He's an absolute freak. Like, his dunk compilation in that limited amount of time he spent in college is just ridiculous. The size and wingspan, along with the athletics, makes him such an interesting prospect with a ton of upside. Works so well in transition, already showing shades as a decent defender. Picked up quite a few steals, as we saw with those per game averages. Lots of potential on defense. Already rebounds the ball well. Like this is a project player, but I believe there is a lot here. Extremely raw, like I said. Doesn't show great shooting mechanics or handling. Very loose handling. Turns the ball over a little bit. He's another one I think should have spent another year in college, but I believe if he spent another year in college, we could be looking at him like a lottery pick. I really like him. And 4 out of 5 for me, because if the Raptors see that potential, I'm just so curious if they worked with him, how good he could get. Next up is David Roddy, a small forward, power forward. Don't be fooled by the 6'6" height. Nice 7-foot wingspan. You're going to see in a second. He's 21 years old, out of Colorado State. And look at these numbers. Just stupid numbers for college. Stupid numbers. Not the best school, Colorado State, but almost 20 points per game. 7.5 rebounds. 57% from the field and 44% from 3. Crazy. Only 69% from the line. Needs work, but my God, I am enamored with this player. He is like, he's a brick shithouse. He is absolutely massive. He weighs 260 pounds. Like, this guy should be a tight end in the NFL. Yet, big time shot maker, off the dribble, catch and shoot, ridiculous efficiency as we saw. And you would think he's not that good of an athlete at 260. He has such tight handles. He is so crafty. He can sauce you up on the perimeter to free himself up for a step back three. He can blow by you. He's explosive. He'll blow by you to get to the rim. And you get this guy, 6'6", 260, going downhill. That is tough to stop. Defensively, with this size, tons of switchability. Like this is such a premier athlete. He's so athletic at 260 pounds. Amazing. Weaknesses, I believe he's 21 and his free throw percentage could be better. That's it. 5 out of 5. Oh my God. Love for the Raptors to work with this guy. Great prospect. You don't believe me? Watch his tape. You'll be shocked at how this guy moves for his size. Like, it's crazy. A men amongst boys in college. All right, to finish off, we got 3 bigs, and we're going to start with the power forward / center in Jaylin Williams. This is one of my favorite prospects going into this one. He's 6'10" with a 7'1" wingspan, only 19 years old. Love that. He's going to be 20 very soon, which is why I included his date of birth. And he went to Arkansas. Stats, pretty good. I mean, they're not the most flashy. 11 points per game, 10 rebounds, a little bit of a double-double machine vibes. Decent efficiency from the field. Not the greatest 3-point percentage, though he started showing shades of a guy who can stretch the floor in the NBA, projects well in that regard. The biggest thing for me is that he's such a smart basketball player, very good playmaker out of the high post, handles the ball well for a big, like, honestly, kind of wouldn't say he ran point, but he carried the ball up the court and ran the offense sometimes for the Razorbacks. Really worked well within the team dynamic. Excellent defensive presence, one of the best, in fact, the greatest of all time in college at drawing charges. If you miss Kyle Lowry for those charges, you won't miss him as much anymore because this guy takes a ton of them, has the potential to stretch the floor, like I said, and excellent intangibles. You love Scottie Barnes, always smiling, always that guy kind of bringing everybody else up. He's the same, so you're going to love him. Toronto would love this guy. Not the most athletic, though. That's the weakness. His overall ceiling kind of suffers because he's not the most athletic guy, not the most consistent scorer, not very explosive. Like, those sort of metrics in the combine that he measured, like, they weren't great, even amongst power forwards and bigs. So that's a problem. Also, not the most adept at blocking shots, but his positioning does make up for a lot of that. Like, I really, really like Jaylin Williams, what I saw from him and all the tape and all the research done for him. This is a top 3 for me. This is a top 3 for me. 4.5 stars. I would love the Raptors draft this guy. I think he could be a really good player for our bench unit. Maybe not from day one, but maybe with a little bit of work. That basketball IQ is something you can work with. Next up is Christian Koloko. He's a center, and the size of this guy, 7'1" with a 7'5" wingspan, 22 years old. Great season out of Arizona with 12.6 points per game. 7.3 rebounds, decent steals, decent blocks, 2.8 blocks. Like, that is eye-popping. 63% shooting from the field, and for a big at 7'1", shoots a free throw 74%, which is great to see. We love his size. We love the athleticism. Like, it just shocks you how athletic he is for a 7'1" guy. Rebounds the ball very well on the inside on offense. Played soccer growing up, which directly translates to me as somebody having great footwork, and he shows it out there on the court. Has a lot of post moves as well to go along with that footwork. On the other end, blocks ton of shots, like very good timing wise. Like, I know the size 7'1", you're gonna get block shots, but his timing is excellent, especially on the weak side. Good defender in general, can be that defensive anchor for your team, and showing some signs of being able to shoot the jump shot at some point in his career. Problems with him, already 22. Sometimes he can get trapped with the ball if like a double comes. Can't really bail himself out with his ball handling or his playmaking, which leads to some turnovers. That's a little bit of a problem. He's a one-dimensional guy. He's a rim runner, so not gonna space the floor at all in his NBA career, in my opinion. Doesn't project as a good 3-point shooter. Can shoot the mid-range, but it's unreliable, especially when it's contested. So stuff to work on. But as a center, I really think you can work with him. Another 4.5 for me. Last guy on this list is Ismael Kamagate. A lot of Raptors fans online have been talking about him. In fact, on Amateur Sports yesterday, I did a full breakdown for him. If you saw that video, you already know my opinion, but big guy. 6'11" with a 7'3" wingspan, playing in France. He is French. Showcased some decent stats in that professional league in France. Honestly, for pro league, that's decent. 11.3 points with 6.3 rebounds. Great efficiency. Free throw percentage could be a little bit better. Blocks are decent at 1.6. And yeah, there's certainly some things to like about him. Super athletic for his size. Good score on the interior. Just dunks everything. Has a few signs of being able to hit the mid-range shot. Block shots decently well. And, you know, you're drafting him for his defense. He can be that anchor on defense. Does a good job of playing in drop coverage. Does a decent job when he is switched on to guards, like as good as you could expect for somebody of his size. Runs the floor really well. Very mobile as well. Like he has good hips to stay with his checks on defense and uses them on offense to create some scoring opportunities. There was a lot I don't like about him though. Draft age, already 21. That's something like, you know, you could get somebody who's younger. Does not project well as a floor spacer. He's very interior centric. Post-up game is very, very basic. It's going to be super easy for NBA level players to guard. Not the smartest player, like doesn't occupy the right spaces on offense or on defense. His athleticism bails him out a lot on defense because he's just bigger and for sometimes just more athletic than the other guy, which, you know, it's fine, but that won't save him in the NBA. Offensively, doesn't make the right cuts, doesn't get into the right spaces. It's a little bit choppy for him. Also, really skinny for now. He'll get bullied in the NBA with that size. And for a 6'11" player, not a very good rebounder, to my surprise. It definitely should be better for somebody of his size. Again, just doesn't occupy the right positions or read those bounces well. And the playmaking for a lot of bigs, it is the same problem. That's a problem, but a lot I don't like about him, and that's a 3 out of 5 for me. If the Raptors draft him, I wouldn't be upset, but I feel like there is better available. So who do you like? I'm a big fan of Roddy, Lewis, and Williams. Like, those are 3 guys I am very, very happy with. Ultimately, the only guy I would really be upset with on this list is Hugo Besson, whatever his name is. But let me know in the comments down below who you think the Raptors should take with the 33rd overall pick. And thank you so much for watching this video. Please give a like if you did enjoy. It goes a long way to supporting this channel. When you drop a like, it lets other people know that this is a video worth watching. They're more likely to click on it, and YouTube is more likely to recommend it to those people. Also, be sure to subscribe to Amateur Sports. With the draft tomorrow, we have a ton of great content coming out for who the Raptors draft. Lots of breakdowns, lots of information analysis. You're not going to want to miss out on all that stuff on this channel, and you can help us on the road to 10,000 subscribers. I will be live streaming for the draft on my Twitch channel, twitch.tv/amateursports. The link is in the description. I'm going to start 30 minutes before the draft starts, and I'm going to give you all the information you need to watch along in that draft. We have a great watch party. Hope to see you there. I'll see you again next time for another video.